Wordsmith Private Eye. Wordsmith Private Eye. Focus question. What are the examples of wordplay and how does Wordsmith use them throughout the story? Anagrams and palindromes. As I sat in my office penning the daily newspaper crossword puzzle, slits of light leaked through the Venetian blinds and onto my desk. Then suddenly she walked in, dressed to the nines with all her I's dotted and T's crowded. Are you Wordsmith, the famous private eye? She asked. That depends, I asked back. On who's asking? My name is Hannah Eve Hannah. Maybe you've heard of me? Hannah Eve Hannah was the owner of the Alphabet Soup Company. I tried to remain calm. Maybe I have, I said coolly, peering back at my crossword. 10 down, mix up the letters with a new word. 7 letters starting with an A. Easy, she said, anagram. And that's AS, I said. Which is an anagram of easy, she said. I could tell she was my kind of person, a wordplay person. Hannah, did you know that your name is a palindrome? The same word backward and forward? I know that, she replied. But if you know that, then you must be Wordsmith, the private detective specializing in cases that have to do with the parts of speech, punctuation, and language. Am I right? She said me packed like a wooden hat rack, nailed like a post to a fence, honored I couldn't come up with another smile. So until I did, I figured I might as well take the case. What is it you need me to do? Find a misplaced modifier, rescue a dangling participle, subordination a clause? Nothing that simple, Wordman. I need you to decipher the meaning of these notes, which came wrapped around a brick thrown through a window in my factory. She handed me 3 slips of paper, which one with a separate message. Never odd or even, runs a treat, and leave evil. Live evil is a palindrome, I said. And the calling cards of a master criminal, the Punisher. My old foe was loose again. Never odd or even is another palindrome, but also a riddle. That number is never odd or even. I was drawing a blank, coming up empty, getting nothing zip slick 0. That was it. 0. 0 is neither odd or even. Yet, I doubt 0 could be the answer. Why? The Punisher never gives a straight answer, so it had to be a clue. And to think that Fiend used to be a friend of mine until he sold the R. Another way to set 0 is goose egg, right? That must be what we are looking for, but where? A farm, suggested Hannah. A pond? Too literal. Check the other note. Runs the street? She said aloud. She read aloud. Anagram it, I said, using the same letters. What type of place runs the street? For a while, we scratched our hands, completing. Then Hannah said, restaurant. Nice going, Kit asked Shirley. But what restaurant would serve a goose egg? A full place for sure. Sorry. We checked the internet for poultry joints in the area. Chicken Little, nah. The Hen Pen, no. You Turkey, no. But I did like their soul again. Where it's Thanksgiving 365 days a year. The Dead Duck. We were getting closer. Your goose is cooked. That was it. Hinky Pinky. On the way to the restaurant, I thought back about my days on the force. Our days, the Punisher and I were rookies together on the grammar patrol. We worked the streets, cleaning up people's speech and fixing their spelling errors. Yeah, it was a tough job, but someone had to do it. Imagine a word where people put I before E even after C. There would be cows. The Punisher, then known as Webster Wright, got mad when people told him to buzz off for correcting their syntax. He thought that should thank him and invite him over for a game of Scrabble, but you can't go into this line of working looking to make... can't go into this line of work looking to make friends. You know what I mean? Webster took it personally and wanted revenge. Since he felt unappreciated, he left the force to do the job on his own way, even if it was against the rules of grammar. Unfortunately, on the way to the restaurant, I got lost in thought. If the plural of miles is mice, why isn't the plural of house heis? And if more than one man is man, why isn't more than one pen pen? By the time we arrived at the restaurant, the Punisher had vanished. And I was correct. He had been there, and I confirmed this by interviewing the owner Otto. A short time ago, faster than you can say a salami sandwich on rye. Holds the mayo. Did you serve a man a goose egg? Yes. And it was nothing. Baba bing, he said, sounding suspiciously like a third-rate stand-up comedian. Did he order anything else? A jumbo hot dog that I know he took a mighty great pleasure in consuming. How do you know that? Asked Hannah. That was a mistake. Being a private eye, I could see and hear the painful pun coming. Well, titched Otto, holding back a smile. He ate it with relish. Oh, groaned Hannah in horror. That was a brutally bad joke. Speaking of bad jokes, said Otto, what do you call the rabbit that tells joke? A funny bunny, I said. What do you call a dog that falls into a pool? A soggy doggy. What do you call a splashed feline? A flat cat. Stop it, cried Hannah. I can't take any more. These trouble jokes with rhyming punchlines are called hinky-pinkies. As a wordplay pro, I knew that in the wrong hands, they could be deadly. Then it dawned on me, like the East Coast at 6 in the morning. The Punisher had somehow turned Otto into a bad joke-telling zombie. Consequently, an army of zombie jokers would make life miserable for everyone else with their non-stop punning and painful word-playing. The English language would be destroyed. My only hope was to get Otto out of these trends. So as any noble detective would do, I sharpened my wits and prepared for action. That suits me, said the trailer. Ouch, cried Hannah. That's joking, said the electrician. Yikes. She shrieked. Help! Piped up the plumber from under the sink. Please make him stop, Word. I thought of gagging Otto, but once the gag was removed, he'd start gagging it up again. Therefore, my only hope was to tie up this tongue with a dose of the twisters. Repeat after me, said the waiter. 5 times fast. 5 times fast, he said. No, quickly repeat what I'm about to say 5 times. You need me. Okay? She sells seashells by the seashore. I was taught tongue twister, and I knew I was taking a risk having him say it. Yet I conclude that all that blubbering similar consonant sounds would either knock on sense into him or knock him senseless. She sells by the seashore. She sells seashores by the seesaw. She sells seesaws. And that's when he blanked out. Who's that knocking at my door? Knock, knock, I said, knocking gently on Otto's noggin before he awoke, groggy and blurry eye. Who's there? Wordsmith, I said. Wordsmith? Who? Wordsmith, private eye. Technically, that wasn't a knock-knock joke, but I wasn't trying to be funny or unfunny. Never heard of him, Otto said. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a job to do. Torture innocent people with painfully bad jokes, said Hannah. No, wait on customers. So my tongue twister had done the job. The waiter was no longer under the Punisher's spell, but we still have to uncover that the Fink was up to think that Rat used to rate grammar with me until he stole the E. Did you last customer leave you a tip? I said Otto. No, Otto said. But here's his tip. Don't talk to strangers with your mouth full. Then he continued. Today is a red letter day, and by tomorrow all the letters that are red will be mine. Red letters? Letters that are red? What could that mean? I've got it, said Hannah. The Punisher's going to steal all the letters from my alphabet soup factory. That was it. If the Punisher had control of all the letters, he could control all the words with that. The entire English language, proper spelling, proper punctuation, and proper grammar would be strictly enforced. Anyone caught breaking the rules would be sentenced to hard labor, splitting infinities. To the alphabet soup factory in a jiffy, I declared, yet we couldn't find a jiffy, so we waved for a taxi. Tons of fun. We arrived at the factory just as the Punisher was vacuuming up the last set into a gigantic truck marked A to Z for you, proving that Hannah was right. He was stealing all the letters. Webster, I said, stop. That's pause backwards, or you can anagram the letters to make tops of or spot. Same word, Webster, I thought. I would have thought a fleshy private I could come up with more difficult words for me to anagram like called or deceased. You are losing your tongue with words. Word. Hardly, old friend, give me your best pot shot. The Punisher fired up his pun gun. What do mommy stands to? Rap music. What does a clock do when it's hungry? Go back 4 seconds. What's a Berber's motto? Here today, gone tomorrow. Okay, so you're still a punny guy. But I'm the one with all the letters, and soon I'll make sure all the rules are followed. Period! Exclamation point. You're the one who has lost it, Webster. You are such a stickler for proper speech that you have forgotten how to have fun with phonics, play with pronouns, laugh at language. Ha! My puns put the in laugh. I can beat you at any wordplay game. Worthy, so name your weapon. All right, we'll spin spoonerisms. I'll set a parade, and you'll have to speak the initial sounds of some of the words to make a new phrase. No problem, or shall I say pro noblem? Word, be careful, cried Hannah. He's good. I knew he was good, but I was better, or worse, at least from the point of view of wordplay, where silly and stupid trump straight and narrow. Here goes. Know your blows because nicking your pose means you have very mad manners. Don't you mean blow your nose because picking your nose means you have very bad manners? Round 1. The Punisher. Now it was his turn to try to stump me. Hiss and leer, it's time to send the mails of our cattle ships and breezers. Don't you mean, listen here, it's time to mend the sails of our battleship and cruisers? Well done. Word, go again. Wait, interrupted Hannah. You two are too evenly matched. You'll be feared, however. I mean here forever. Let's decide these disputes with one ultimate riddle. The Punisher answers correctly, he gets the letters and dominates the dictionary. But if word is right, the letters stay, and the Punisher makes like a tree and leaves. A riddle? I invited riddles. Laughed the Punisher. You're on. Hannah, here's the Wizard of Riddles. But you have the gift of illogical logic. Word. Then she patted my shoulder encouragingly. You two have 10 seconds, said Hannah. So tell me, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 of these do. This was new for me, but it reminded me of my daily crossword puzzles. I stole a look at the Punisher and spied a cocky smirk on his face. 7 seconds. I got lost in thought again, walking one way, then another, then another. 3 seconds. Then it struck me like a clock at midnight. I snagged another glimpse at the Punisher to see if he knew the answer. He hadn't moved. However, the smirk on his face had vanished. Time's up, called Hannah. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 of these do. Said the Punisher meekly. 3 wrongs? No, I said coolly. It's 3 left turns. See, I turned left, then left, and left again, and suddenly I was facing in the right direction. Absolutely right. No words left for you, Punisher, Hannah quipped. The letters belong to us. I'll be back, yet the Punisher, who left in a huff. Then again, it might have been a minute and a half. We were quipping for quite a while.